What's good? Welcome back. Fantastic Four, new movie coming, so let's draw Human Torch. Yeah, tricky enough now with all the flames, right? So let's try. We'll get his head in anyway. Starting here, we'll do a frowning sort of eyebrow first. He's frowning but smiling. So a sort of eyebrow spiking sort of down there, kind of like a check mark or a tick sort of line. Then we'll add a section that we can kind of color. It's just like the other side of his brow there. Other eyebrow on the other side, same sort of symmetrical. Doesn't have to be the exact same, obviously. They can be slightly different. Right, so eyes just underneath, so touching the eyebrow. And we'll bring it across, kind of generic superhero eyes. He doesn't have any irises or pupils. They're just white, which makes it easier for us. Sort of this kind of style, right? Right, and then we'll go about eye width. So we'll go sort of here. Yeah, real sort of square comic book eyes. So, bridge of his nose then. Maybe a little bit on the other side, but not much. And then, so his nostrils, so we curve, come down the middle, and then the skin of the nostril on the other side. So he's got a big, confident smile, right? So it looks like his mouth is closed, but we'll open it up. And then just add some teeth coming in from the sides of the mouth. For the bottom lip, you just need to do that. Okay, so sort of chin, real square, male chin. There's all this kind of fire on his face and stuff, but so what we'll do is kind of we'll draw his anatomy and stuff first, and then add the flame around. So we'll go for the jaw, kind of up this way. Okay, and then like that, kind of like in line with his mouth, kind of, and underneath his eyebrows. It changes its direction and then goes up the side of his face towards his ear. He has a kind of strong cheekbones then. So we got like sideburns. That's his hair is kind of like fire though, so it can be kind of spiky and wavy and stuff like that. And then his ears come out from here, just kind of curve around, and you can do some ear lines inside. Letter J, I always find that's the easiest way to start, at least, and then you could do some more if you want. So then his sort of hairline, kind of a V there, and then we just spike it around. Boom, 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 boom. Right, so the rest of his hair, you gotta think sort of like fire, right? And so like the hair has a fiery shape, but then there's like fire around the hair. So let's just do this first. Lots of different ways of doing this now. So some of these mightn't connect, because the fire is kind of like flashing and puffing around sort of thing. So there might be some gaps in the lines because there is more fire like up here as well. Like around his head. So that's all this sort of fire then. And maybe some more texture on the hair. Like that, right? So the rest of his body is kind of like the way the fire is here, right? So we gotta we'll draw his anatomy, like the costume and stuff, and then we'll try and add as much flame as we can. Right, so neck muscles, two of them sort of come down like a little V sort of there. And so this will give you sort of the center of his chest. Okay, so then we have the sort of circular four that's here, right? So it's kind of like turned a little bit sideways. So it's kind of like an oval, sort of turned this way. And then it has like a bit of an edge to the symbol. Like so. And then there's another sort of layer to the crest. It's kind of like a plaque sitting on his chest. Then like his chest muscles seem to like come out from there. One going that way, the other one kind of higher up because the arm is going kind of behind his head over there. And then the top of his chest goes here. And there might be some more sort of neck muscles and things like that. Right, so side of his body, curves that way. And then his back is in here. His legs kind of go off this way. So he's got like that superhero sort of costume. So like another leg going that way, and then his other leg here. Okay, so that's like his torso shape. And then so like the back of his neck. I think that's like a collar maybe. So he's got like a little collar here. Comes down to the front of his chest. And then his neck. His trapezius muscle here. And so this is like a yellow line that's on his costume. There's kind of one over here as well. It kind of reminds me of the Flash or something. Right, and then a big shoulder and a big arm. So like shoulder muscle here. Kind of sort of a love heart kind of shape. And then his bicep here. And then the sort of tricep kind of coming down this way. And then a big forearm. Sort of going like here down to his wrist somewhere. There's a big like fist in here, right? But say like his forearm is there. Fist looks like really big. Let's say like just do that first. Shoulder, and then lots of flame. So before I do the hand, I'll try and get the other sort of arm done up here, so we can see like another sort of shoulder muscle area. Kind of there. And then like his tricep and elbow. So this is like smaller, right? Because it's going away from us. And then, so the forearm again kind of goes this way. It's like his wrist. Real sort of foreshortened. So it just goes down into the bicep there. Like something on his wrist like that. Okay. So there's like fire covering his forearm here, so I can't see if there's an elbow in there maybe. But let's see, maybe hands now. So we got like a generic sort of back of his hand fist up here. You just kind of see two knuckles. Sorry now, got the sniffles. That way. Is that knuckle or is that fire? Not quite clear. But say like palm of his hand, that could be fire actually. So it's like this, maybe a bit of fire or something. This might be a mistake. Hold on. I just don't want to confuse things. So we'll go like this way. Seems to go around. Like for the palm of his hand, kind of like that. Could be a couple of fingers or curves just there. Sort of on his thumb. Okay. Kind of like a big gloved hand. Right, and then this one's like really big down here. So we go sort of down for the thumb area first. Thumb knuckle. And then this comes down to 4 sort of big hand knuckles. Big exaggerated fist. It's just a block sort of thing. And then each of these would be a finger. All right. And then maybe some knuckle lines and stuff in here. And there is some flame all around this as well, kind of like what I tried to do up there. But okay. Tricky enough now, all that anatomy. It's not easy. So let's add some details to the costume. So we might as well start with the 4. Just a block lettering 4 in there, and then we got some like abdominal muscles, 6-pack, in there, and then you got like obliques. Sorry, I'm sniffling so much. Hope I'm not getting a cold or something. Right. So he has these sort of yellow lines of his costume that kind of run down the length of his body, right? So it's kind of just this. Okay, and then it's a double, right? So it comes over his chest as well. Down. It goes over his shoulder. There. There's some just on the costume here. Around his bicep as well. Something like coming over this way. One that comes down his chest here. Something here as well. his bicep. Okay, I think that's all the costume details. Oh wait, something there. Okay, so next is like flame, right? So like all around his body, there's just going to be massive amounts of fire. You're just going to add as much as you want. Coming all around his fist and everything. Around his arm. Everywhere, really. Just loads of spikes and this is what I was trying to do up here, but and it kind of joins the fire in his hair. So you could draw as much of this now, and there might be some like that goes onto his body, you know, like kind of like comes over what we drew, you know. That's optional. It'll just make it look more fire-like onto his body, if you want to do that, if that's your thing. Okay, and of course it'll all be orange, yellow when you're coloring. Like even like everything's orange, you know. There's no blue like in his normal costume even. And like if there's fire covering, you know, you could even erase, say if fire comes onto his body from the fire that's around his body. I know this is confusing, but I'll just show you. You can erase that line of his anatomy just to have it so it's like covered by fire a bit. So, you know, that kind of thing. Lots of different ways of doing it anyway. You know, you could even obscure some of his, maybe like shoulder there or something, you know, just so it's like maybe flame. You know, that'll all be like orange. It's optional. Something to think about. But there you go. Human Torch. Hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching. See you next episode. Bye.